So I owe you guys an explanation, and the time has come. I'm sure a lot of you guys have a bunch of questions and concerns and just you're confused, and I'm just here to make this video today and catch you guys up to speed and hopefully answer all of those questions. And then after that, maybe go for a little bit of a drive. It just stopped raining, as you can see, so I was supposed to film this video like early this morning, but it's been raining all day, so it finally stopped, so now is the perfect time. If you already haven't, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are almost at 6,000 subscribers. We are on our way to 10K, and I think we'll be able to hit it this year. So with your guys' help, we'll get to that goal. Also, while you hit the subscribe, leave a like on today's video because it helps tremendously more than you guys realize. But with all that said, welcome back, guys, to another video. Here's my new car, and I've been seeing what you guys have been commenting. Some of it has been a little bit of hate, you know, towards the VQ, and I know that there's a stigma that goes along with these cars, but a lot of you guys that know what I'm about and you guys have been following the channel for a long time, this new car makes so much sense, right? So before this car, I had a Lexus ISF, and the car was super great. I absolutely loved it. It was a V8 5.0 liter. It made great power. And if you guys don't know about the ISF, go back and watch some of my previous videos. I did some content with my previous car, and it'll fill you guys in a little bit about what the car is and what it's capable of, and it'll kind of catch you guys up to speed as well. But yeah, I had an ISF and I ended up selling it. So a lot of you guys are probably like, why would you sell the ISF and get a Z? That's such a downgrade. And that's a lot of your guys' comments, you know, you guys were saying that. So to answer your question, the main reason why I sold my ISF, there were two reasons, right? Number one, I had a loan on that car because it's a lot more expensive than a Z, obviously. So I had a loan on that car, and I was not a fan of that loan, so I sold the car to pay off the loan because I did not like it. I didn't like car payments. I didn't like the idea of it. I just wanted to own a car, so that's the number one reason. It's not that I couldn't afford it, I just didn't like car loans. Every single car that I've owned up until this point now, I've owned over 10 different kinds of cars, which to some is a lot, some it's not a lot, but I've had over 10 cars, every single car I've owned, and that ISF was the only car that I did not own entirely because I pulled a loan out on it, and I wasn't a fan of that. I didn't like the concept of it. I don't like car payments. It's just, I feel like it's kind of a waste of money when you're paying on top of interest. I just don't like it. A lot of you guys, you know, might have car loans, and I'm sure that, you know, it's a way to get your dream car or really cool car, but in my mind, it's just like, if you work hard enough, whatever you put your mind to, it's obtainable. And I understand, you know, for certain things you might need a loan, like a house or something, but a car, you know, I don't know, I just didn't see the point of it, so that's why I sold the car. But the second thing was honestly the biggest reason why I sold the ISF, and if this wasn't a problem, I would have just paid the loan off and I would have kept the car. The biggest reason why I sold the ISF is the car just wasn't engaging enough. A lot of you guys might be confused on why I say that. To keep a long story short, I live in Florida, and if you guys don't know, Florida primarily has straight roads. There's not any fun back roads. There's not any mountains here. It's just all flat, and all of our roads are straight. But the most fun I could have in the ISF was just going super fast in a straight line. And honestly, guys, like, it's cool, but it kind of gets like boring after a while. I'm not really into like drag racing too much. I did a little bit in Mexico, of course. I did a little bit, and it was kind of sort of fun, but it's not really, you know, my favorite thing to do. I like back roads, I like mountains, I like scenic drives, and most importantly, I like analog cars. So the ISF, it did have, you know, the 8-speed and the paddles were really fast and stuff, but just, I kind of got bored of the car. I mean, it honestly just felt like an IS 250 because more than often, I was driving the car regular and not just driving it how I wish I could be, you know, just based off of the roads we have in Florida, which honestly sucks because I had plans of setting up the ISF and later this year bringing it to the tail of the Dragon. I really wanted to do that. I couldn't keep paying, you know, the car loan, and the car just wasn't really all that fun to me. I'm sure that the ISF, it's absolutely great once you mod it a lot and once you have sick roads to drive it on, but just straight roads, I don't know, guys. I just didn't really want to keep the car long term and put money into it, and you know, I wouldn't be really enjoying it on a day-to-day basis. So that's why I sold it. That's the biggest reason. So it's not because I couldn't afford the payments on the car. That wasn't really a problem. I didn't like the payments, but I would have paid the payments if the car was worth it in my eyes. And I just think in Florida, the ISF, you know, just not engaging enough, not good enough just for me to keep it. So that's honestly really the two reasons why. But with all that said, we got that out of the way. That's why I sold the ISF, but it's an absolutely amazing car, and I just want to, you know, make this disclaimer. I love that car, and maybe in the future, you know, I can get a 2010 plus, even a 2011, because mine was a 2009, so was the earlier one. But I absolutely love the ISF. Just, I want to put that out there. There's nothing that I disliked about that car, really. I love driving that car, and I do want one in like Matador Red or Ultrasonic Blue. Those two colors for me, even the Pearl White, but really the Matador Red is my favorite. So definitely in the future, if I am able to, I definitely want to pick one up because they're getting so expensive, and I'm just lucky that I had the opportunity to say that I owned one at least one time in my life. So with that said, we're gonna put all the ISF stuff to the side. Still love that car, but we don't have an ISF anymore. We're back in the Nissan gang, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm still Louis Z, guys. Like, what did you expect me to buy? You know what I mean? So we're back in a Z. This is my new to me 2008 Nissan 350Z HR, and it is a manual transmission, of course. Not a convertible, not an automatic. That's not a way to buy these cars. You cannot buy these cars like that. They suck. The only way to buy these, you have to get the coupe, and you have to get this right here. I'll show you guys. This is a sweet spot right here. This is what makes these cars so much fun and a blast to drive. So that's honestly why I downgraded to the Z, was because they're just more fun to drive. I mean, any manual car is more fun to drive than cars with paddle shifters, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, I like the older stuff, guys. Like, if I hit the lottery, I always tell my friends I wouldn't buy like a new Ferrari. I would buy like an old school gated manual Ferrari, just because I love manual transmissions. I think it's the most funnest form of driving, in my opinion. Yes, they're not the fastest. Yes, they don't set the quickest lap times, but who cares about all that? You know, it's, in my opinion, it's all about the fun factor, just cars being super analog, and the engagement. You know, that's what makes driving fun. That is like the spirit of driving, and that's just my take on it. So honestly, guys, I've owned a whole bunch of these cars. I've owned a whole bunch of VQs, G35s, 350Z DEs. Now this is my HR. I've driven hundreds of them, and I will say I have more fun in this than I did in my ISF. And I mean, some of you guys might call me crazy, but these things are just so good. I mean, this car, the aftermarket support is super vast. Like, there's so much stuff you can do to these. You can boost them, you can wide body them, you can drift them, you can track them. And speaking of track, that's what this car's purpose is. This will be a dedicated track car. Just like my last 350Z before it got hit, that was the plans with that car. But it kind of worked out to where I upgraded to an HR, and it worked out in my favor because this car has a lot of stuff done to it. And although I didn't buy all the upgrades for it, I helped the previous owner install pretty much 90% of everything. And in today's video, I'm just going to go over everything that's done to the car, because the Z is far from stock. It's not boosted, but it definitely does not drive like a stock HR. And if you guys know, the HRs drive a lot differently than the DEs. The HRs make a lot more power. They're just more refined. And because this is an 08, it's the last model year of the 350Z, which is super awesome. It's in a silver color, which is fine. It's not my favorite color. It's probably one of the most common colors, but let me just go ahead, give you guys a walk around and just show you all of the goodies that this car came with. So it is a base model, which means that it is the lightest 350Z version. So it's a base, but it has upgraded Brembo brakes, which these are factory, but this car came with base model brakes. So at some point in this car's life, one of the owners upgraded the brakes and put the factory Brembos on it, so the stopping power is freaking really nice. Along with that, this car has some of my favorite rims to ever be offered on the 350Z. If you guys don't know what these are discontinued LMGT4 Nismo catalog wheels, and these wheels are absolutely gorgeous. These wheels make TE37s look like, I don't know, they just make them look so basic and overplayed. These things are rare, they're discontinued, and I absolutely love them. And a lot of people don't know what these wheels are. The previous owner also added some nice touches, like the valve stem covers are Nismo, the lug nuts are Nismo, just some little details, you know. But pretty much the car is all stock body. If we come to the back, the car has a full Tomei catback, and it does have a Tomei Y pipe, so this car is super loud. A little bit too loud for my liking. I definitely want to change the exhaust down the road, but it does sound really good at lower RPMs. Once you get on it, it sounds like a trumpet, I'm gonna be honest, guys, and I do want to change that. But I mean, it's a quality exhaust, it's full titanium, so that's awesome. But let's go ahead, show you guys the inside of the car. Got some nice Nismo floor mats. If you guys have been watching my channel, you know that this is my old shift knob on my old Z that I used to run, but the car did come with a Nismo shift knob. Aha, here it is. Came with this one, so I have a metal one and then kind of another material one, so I have two Nismo shift knobs. Pretty cool. But pretty much the interior is mainly stock. I mean, that's kind of how I like it. I don't like a bunch of gauges and a bunch of lights and all that. I really like just OEM plus. Remember how I was telling you guys that this is the base model? So in the base model, they came with these cloth seats, which these seats are super light. My previous Z had the full leather seats, which in Florida they don't really work because Florida's super hot, and leather, when it gets super hot, it cracks and you start to sweat, and then the leather sticks to your, you know, your body, and it's just not the best. My previous car did have heated seats as well, but and this car doesn't have that because it just has the cloth seats. But because of that, the leather heated seats were super heavy and they didn't really work in Florida. Probably in another state it would be better, like where it's more colder, but in Florida all you need is these cloth seats, and they're the lightest seats that ever came in the 350Z, so that's super dope. And these seats are a lot more comfortable than the leather seats as well. But yeah, like I said, it's a base, so it's the lightest version of the 350Z, but it came with the best engine, which is the HR. So I'll go ahead and pop the hood. Let me pop the hood. Then if we come to the engine bay, pop the hood. Got a little bit of bolt-on action going on, so I'll go ahead, just give you guys a super brief overview of just everything that's going on. The car has carbon intakes from Z1 Motorsport. You can see down there, they're dual. The DEs only came with one intake. Obviously the HRs come with two intakes. The HR is a little bit of a different engine design, it makes more power, so this is the best engine you can get in the 350Z. They only made the HRs from 07 to 08, so this is like the best. Same engine as the Nismo 350Z, nothing changed. Along with that, I have these Z1 hoses, so these are cool. I have more at the house, so I have to go ahead and install it. Got this cool little Z1 high pressure oil cap, whatever. Along with that, I have a Koyo radiator. So this is, in my opinion, one of the best radiators you can get. They're just really good quality, and they do a great job with cooling the car. I already told you guys about the exhaust. The car is sitting on Nitto NTO5 tires all around, so I believe front is 245, and in the rear they should be 275 rear, 245 front. So staggered setup. And let me tell you guys, these Nittos, although I don't think they're as good as the Toyo R888s, these tires are really grippy. You'll see, obviously the roads are wet, so it probably won't do as much, but when I drive this car, when the tires heat up, it just picks up so many rocks. And then you have the Nitto NTO1s. Those are straight track slicks. Obviously this is my daily for now. I can't run track slicks on the street as a day. It just doesn't work. So this is kind of the happy medium. So I could take this car on the racetrack, it will perform really well, the tires will grip up once they heat up, but then I can also do a little bit of street driving as the car is my daily. So the wheel and tire setup is legit. Along with the purchase of the car, I got Hawk Performance brake pads. I just haven't installed them yet, and I do want to get some sort of two-piece rotor. So if you guys have any recommendations of a really good quality two-piece rotor, just leave it down in the comment section. I will be sure to check it out. Definitely I want to upgrade from these like just OEM rotors. I believe the backs are drilled and slotted, but I don't know what brand they are, and the fronts are OEM. So I definitely want to upgrade from these because I want the stopping power to be like A1. I mean, it's already really good, but I definitely want to improve it because, like I said, the goal of this car is to go on track. Because this was the base model, like I was saying, every single base model 350Z came with an open diff, so the cars could only do one wheel peels. So that's how this car came from factory, but the previous owner slapped in an OS Geiken diff, so the differential is it's an LSD OS Geiken. He did polyurethane bushings, so this car, although it has some pretty aggressive tires on it, it doesn't really spin too much. Along with that, you guys can't see, I think you can see the dials right here, but we are rocking BC coilovers. I forget what series these are. I forget if they're like the BRs or the ERs, but these are like one of the best series from BC because although you guys can't see it, these coilovers have reservoirs that have fluid inside of them, which is pretty legit. I forget which series they are. I'll probably put it on the screen, but the previous owner did that as well. So this car handles like a freaking glove, just on the wheel and tire setup with the LSD, the brake upgrade, and the coilovers. This car's suspension is pretty insane. With that said, and I'm probably forgetting like a few miscellaneous things, but yeah, the purpose of this car for now is for it to just be my fun daily driver. Is it as fast as the Lexus ISF? No, but is it more fun? In my opinion, yes, because just going through the gears, just downshifting, rev matching, just, you know, banging limiter and then banging the next gear, flat foot shifting, it's just so fun in this car. So even though you're driving in a straight line, it makes driving in a straight line as fun as it could be because of that transmission. And honestly, that's what I was missing, and that's why I'm back in a 350Z. That's pretty much everything on the car. Close, please. Thank you. And right now we're going to get into the driving portion. So as the roads are a little bit wet and the sun is setting, it's a lot cooler than it was before in the day. It was super hot. We're going to take this thing on a drive, and I'm just going to hit a few back roads that I know, and we're just going to, you know, shred in the new 350Z HR, which is super awesome to say. I'm going to go ahead and start the car up. We're going to take it on a drive, and I will explain my long-term goals with this car and just what you guys can expect to see from me and from my channel. But like I said, I'm super hyped. The ISF was definitely a great car, and it was different from what I'm used to, and I absolutely loved it. And it's the only V8 I've ever owned, but it's one of the coolest V8s in my opinion ever. Just a four-door sedan V8. It's truly a sleeper, and I love the ISF. And if you guys can ever own one, do so, because they're great. But this is what I know, guys. This is what I know best. So some of you guys might say it was a downgrade, but I'd like to think that this car will help me get to where I want to be faster. And I just know it like the back of my hand. I know how to work on it. I know everything that was done to it because I practically did everything with the previous owner in his garage. His house is just right down there. So for the past 2 years, we've been building this car up, and that's actually how I met the previous owner, Don. You guys saw him in the last video. He bought his GTR. If you didn't watch that video, go back and check it out. But yeah, that's why he sold it. He got a GTR, and he told me, he's like, Lewis, I don't know anybody I'd rather sell it to than you, because you know this car better than anybody else. You'll appreciate it for what it is, and I know it'll be in good hands. So like I said, guys, I hope you're as excited as I am. We're back in a 350Z, and it's not my dream Z. I really want a Nismo, but I mean, this is the closest thing you can get, and I'd argue that this car, the way it's set up, it handles way better than a stock Nismo ever could. It's probably a little bit faster because it's got all the bolt-ons and stuff, so I'll take it. Yeah, no, this car is legit. Even like, it doesn't even say 350Z, it says Fairlady Z, which is pretty cool. This badge only comes on the Japanese cars. In Japan, they're called Fairladies. You can buy these badges online, and the previous owner just took off the 350Z badge, put the Fairlady, so I think that's really appropriate. But yeah, obviously, biggest problem with this car, there's a dent in the door. That's how I bought the car. That's how the previous owner bought the car. Not a big deal, because once I explain to you guys what the purpose is and what are my plans, you guys will be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So just trust me. But typical Z fashion, the doors want to close on your legs. See, there it goes. But let's start her up. She's already pretty warm. Car does not sound bad at all once it's just idling, and once I'm cruising at about like 3,000-4,000 RPM, it sounds incredible. Once I go to like 7,000-8,000 RPM redline, this thing sounds like a VQ, and you guys will hear that in a second. But just idling, thing sounds money. All right, we are ready to go. Finally. Hopefully this doesn't fall, because it's already fallen twice. So I forgot to mention also, the car's tuned, so you guys will hear like every time I shift and stuff and I decel, the car like burbles. But yeah, honestly, the weather's beautiful right now. It just finished raining, so there's like a nice breeze. And oh, my interior's getting wet, damn it. The sun is not out, so it's not super hot. And it's a Friday, so you know, everybody's getting ready to start their weekend, and I'm just out here in my little Z just trying to hit some back roads. So, but you guys can hear the exhaust sounds really good, just cruising pretty much. It's not really drony. It has a super clean like tone. It's not raspy. But then once I open it up, you'll hear what I'm talking about, and that's something that I want to change in the future. That the Nitto NT05s are picking up. It's pretty sick. It just, I don't know, it's like race car. It's not really a race car, but that brings me to the point that I kind of want to get at. The reason why I bought the car is because my last 350Z, my plans got cut short. Don't pull out, please, thank you, sir. My last 350Z, my plans got cut short, and my car, I got in a car accident, pretty much. Wasn't my fault, but because my plans got cut short, my car was totaled, and I could never kind of fulfill that dream I had of building my Z into a track car and taking it out on a racetrack. With this car, it's kind of like a redemption. This car is just a better platform. It's an HR, so it's just better for that, and it has a lot of other things done to it. So that's kind of the purpose of this car, is just to build on top of what's already done. Hopefully the wind noise is not terrible. But I'm just gonna drive. This is a pretty cool section. Be careful because the roads are wet and these tires don't necessarily like the rain, but I mean, guys, if you could experience just how well the car handles, it is just absolutely amazing. This thing is on like rails, and it blows my mind. It handles way better than the ISF ever could, and I mean, that's where the car shines. It's not like a straight line speed car. They're not ultra fast, but it's fast enough. When it comes to the corners, this car, the way it's set up, guys, it's insane. It sucks that living in Florida, I can't utilize this car to its full potential, because this car wasn't built for straight lines. This car was built for cornering and, you know, acceleration out of the corners. I definitely want to have a few track days this year. That's a big goal of mine. I'm just waiting to get a daily. Good news is I have a second car that I'm going to be buying, and if you guys follow my Instagram and you keep up with that, then you'll probably find out before YouTube the other car that I'm buying. It's a pretty cool car, and it'll be a great daily, we'll just say that. So if you guys want to know a little bit more, be sure to head to my Instagram. I'll throw it up on the screen. And oh, is that a Speed 3? Yes, it is. Mazda Speed 3, cool car. Yeah, just follow my Instagram. It's where you get the behind the scenes action before anything comes out on YouTube. Usually I'm really active on Instagram. It's where I post everything, and I'm going to be giving a lot of updates, and you guys will get a lot of sneak peeks on my social media, so be sure to follow that. This is a pretty cool section I drive on. It's like over this bridge, and the scenery is really nice, so I'll let you guys experience that. Let me roll this window down. Forgot to mention, this car also has a Z1 short shifter in it, so the shifts feel way different from factory. I like the way the OEM shifter feels better, but I mean, this short throw obviously has shorter throws, so I guess that's better, so we'll rock with it. One of the benefits, guys, of getting a 350Z HR, which they only made them for 2007, 2008, is that the car revs to 8,000 RPM. As you guys can see, the red line, and you can actually set it a little bit higher as well. Like, you could even set it to 8,200 RPM if you'd like. There's this cool setting in the car where you can set your rev range on how you prefer. You can set it as far as 9,000. I'm not going to be revving the car that high, but you could if you wanted to. But yeah, these cars from factory, the HR stands for high revving. The first gen DEs, they rev to 6,800. The DE rev ups, which that's the second generation DE, they rev to 7,200, which was my last car. I had a DE rev up. But this car is the HR, it's the Mac Daddy, it's the high revving. So it revs to 8,000 RPM. And let me tell you guys, that extra little bit of RPM that you can squeeze out of this car, it's just that much sweeter. rev the car more, it starts to sound more like a VQ. And there's ways to like change that. You can, you know, put different types of exhaust combos on the car to make it sound different and not so trumpety. But is that a Ferrari? No, that's a Corvette. I thought it was a Ferrari. I almost got excited. I love Ferraris, guys, if you couldn't tell. The roads are a little bit more dry. They're not dry enough to where I'm comfortable like fully getting on the car. There are these roundabouts coming up and I like to shred around them, but I just think the roads are a little bit too wet. Still getting used to this short throw shifter. The gears are really close is what I noticed. Yeah, like these roundabouts I shred. But today I'm gonna kind of take it a little bit chill. Handles insane, guys. Just a little too loud for me, but if we're gonna build a race car, it's gonna be pretty loud, right? Z06 sounded pretty good. Here he comes. Maybe we'll we might just cruise with him for a second.